now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue. Disney has decided to cancel its controversial Star Wars series, Star Wars The Acolyte, after only 1 season. And after the announcement of the cancellation of Star Wars The Acolyte, a whole lot of people online are expressing their anger regarding Disney's decision to end this show, and they are demanding that Disney basically try to bring this show back. And I have to ask a critical question to these people. Where were you to watch this show? Now, I have no interest in Star Wars The Acolyte at all because the whole Star Wars series ended with me as related to the original trilogy, but I have to call out all of those social justice types who are acting like they're so outraged regarding Star Wars The Acolyte being canceled, because many of these people didn't show up to pay subscriptions to Disney Plus to watch the show they say that they are so passionate about. Now, there has been some people out here who are so outraged that they're going on social media to talk about how this show got canceled, and there's even a petition for change.org demanding that Disney bring back Star Wars The Acolyte. However, again, I have to ask that critical question: where were these people when this show was on the air? Because it's clear from the ratings as related to Star Wars The Acolyte, these people were not as passionate as they say they actually are for a show that they did not watch. Now, according to the ratings, Star Wars The Acolyte had the lowest ratings of all the Star Wars shows that Disney Plus has produced, and this show basically was not one that was a revenue maker for Disney because of the whole themes of the show being ones that people did not see related to the Star Wars lore, and that basically alienated the base of Star Wars fans. And eventually something's got to give as related to these productions, because when it comes to Star Wars The Acolyte, this show was extremely expensive at $180 million for all of these episodes, and the only people who basically watched these episodes were YouTubers who were looking to cook and roast the show, and not all of these so-called social justice types who say that they're Star Wars fans. No, many of these social justice types, if they did watch Star Wars The Acolyte, possibly watched it on a pirate streaming site, which really didn't help Disney's bottom line when it comes to a show that cost $180 million, because on a show that basically cost that much, what the studio hoped to do was make 3 times the budget, so 180 times 3. They basically wanted to make at least $500 million on this show, which would possibly be virtually impossible if you just did the math regarding streaming. I mean, if the streaming is basically about, at the minimum, $9.99 a month, and you divide that among about 6 billion people, I don't think you're going to be able to make that $480 to $500 million that Disney hoped to make on this show. So mathematically, it was impossible for Disney to make that kind of money on the show. And it wasn't going to happen, especially when Disney basically alienated the entire base as related to this whole show by having a producer who basically expressed her contempt for the audience, and an actress who basically showed no regard for the fans. I mean, the whole foundation for building that audience interest wasn't really there for The Acolyte, and that, compounded with the huge budget, basically led to Disney looking at this show from its bottom line, which is to make money on this type of content, and realize that if this show wasn't generating ratings, they needed to cancel this show and cut their losses as regarding a program that basically was a streaming bomb. But you can't explain that to the blue and purple haired types who get on social media and want to say that they are activists for causes that they don't follow up on, because again, these people are filled with righteous fury over Star Wars The Acolyte being canceled. However, they didn't go out here and put in their subscription for Disney Plus to show how they are passionate about this show. No, they didn't put any sort of passion out here as related to this show. And now they're sitting here talking about, we want to see this show come back, but that's not how the entertainment business works. No, when it comes to the entertainment business, this is a business, and a business for profit, a business that is designed to make money for a studio, because when a studio invests money in a show, they are hoping to make revenue as related to advertising on that show. One, two, they're hoping to make money later on as related to other forms of media like DVDs and other forms of media. And three, they're hoping to go out here and be able to license and merchandise that show, like they tried to do with some Acolyte helmets of some character that they put on pre-order on Hasbro, but will soon be on Ollie's, along with the rest of the Star Wars merchandise. I mean, basically this show was a commercial failure for Disney and a commercial failure for their licensors like Hasbro. And what Disney wants to do now is basically cut its losses for this show. And it wants to cut its losses, but you have people out here saying, this show needs to stay on the air. Well, that's not how the world of entertainment business works. No, the world of entertainment business works on profit and not feelings. And while people are saying that they're in their feelings about this show getting canceled, they really didn't show their interest in that show. So I hate to break it to people, but again, when it comes to the business of entertainment, you have to put your money behind the kinds of characters and products that you want. And that's what the social justice types haven't understood since the days of 2015, when they started to enter into these businesses with their activism. They didn't understand that if you want people to take you seriously, you have to put money behind the characters you say that you want. I mean, people said they wanted this Acolyte show, but Star Wars fans weren't supporting this show because it basically goes out here and disrespects the lore of Star Wars, disrespects the lore by tying witchcraft into the Force, gives us characters that show us a time before the Republic and the Empire that isn't consistent with Star Wars, and basically is another failure as related to Disney Star Wars, and another failure as related to the social justice types who say that they want this type of content, because we clearly see how full of it they are, with this show having the lowest ratings out of any Star Wars program. With this show having the lowest ratings out of any Star Wars program, it basically shows how full of it these people are, because while they go out here and run their mouths, they don't really run out to spend their money. And that's why nobody takes these people seriously anymore, because with companies like Disney and Hasbro basically on the brink of bankruptcy, trying to pander to these people in hoping that they would go out here and buy merchandise, they realize that there's no money in supporting social justice types and activist types who only know how to act up on social media. Yeah, they make a lot of noise on social media, but the internet isn't the real world. And in the real world that runs on real money, real businesses need real customers. And they're seeing that the social justice activist types who demanded shows like The Acolyte aren't looking to follow over to Disney Plus to put their money where their mouth is. And sadly, many of these activists still out here talking, not understanding that their mouth wrote a check that their behinds never cashed. And because their behinds never cashed that check, basically many of these studio heads are looking to make these people be ass out. and kick them out of the whole creative process and the whole business process, because the whole thing is they're seeing that their actions don't match their words. And since their actions don't match their words, many people, as related to Star Wars, The Acolyte, who are acting up on social media, people are no longer regarding them, because again, after nearly a decade of these people running their mouths about representation and really, there's again passive aggressively representing things, but aggressively not going out here and looking to hire black and non-black talent to work behind the camera, we see how completely full of it these people are. And the Acolyte's cancellation basically shows us all that these people aren't really following behind their own rhetoric, and that's basically why people are no longer taking these folks seriously as related to all the things that they say, because they don't do what they say. And again, Star Wars The Acolyte got canceled because of low ratings. It got canceled because of its high budget in proportion to the low ratings that the show received. And those are the only reasons why there's no more Star Wars The Acolyte, and possibly will lead to the end of Kathleen Kennedy, because there's only so much money you can lose before you eventually have to start firing people. And when it's Star Wars The Acolyte, this possibly is the nail in the coffin for the whole social justice agenda over at Disney, because they've basically listened to what they called woke people, but I call just inexperienced and just grossly unqualified and not even qualified to understand life. What's happening here is that corporate America is now looking to cancel these individuals and list these individuals, because while these people, again, make a lot of noise, they don't follow through with action. And with them not following through with action, they're taking action to get things to go back to business as usual. Now, if you want to pick up some of my action-packed fantasy fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find the books of the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my Black vampire novel Eternal Night, and many other books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, All About the Goddess. The Goddess Next Door bears all in the art studio to catch a campus stalker in this action-packed Isis series mystery. Get your copy of Isis, All About the Goddess in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.